Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This time we are doing a why buy on Sion, the undead champion. He is, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He is not worth buying. I don't know if I've came to that conclusion before, but he's pretty bad. Oh man. So this champ is one of the oldest designed champions in League. He's got one of the oldest and worst visual aesthetics going on in League. He needs a rework. He needs a visual update. He's all sorts of broken. He just doesn't work. He just doesn't fit. He just doesn't really do anything that's of any value. I guess that's maybe not necessarily true. I mean, he still has his kind of niche, and he can do some things kind of interestingly. But this was a rank match, and I pulled out Sion just kind of for kicks on a bit of a whim. And had a game I thought was worth sharing, which is kind of rare on this guy because he kind of is an odd one. So, but anyways, let's talk about his kit nonetheless, because hey, we don't discriminate. Even if I tell you guys not to buy him, I can still explain to you what's going on, so you can get an understanding for maybe what his weaknesses are and why I don't want you to buy him. So anyways, Sion is one of 3 champions that has infinite scaling, referring to Nasus, who I am laning against, which is actually a pretty good matchup for Sion. And then Veigar would be the other champion. Nasus scales infinitely. The damage on his Q, his I'm for some reason forgetting what it's called, Siphoning Strike. Veigar scales infinitely with his ability power, and Sion scales infinitely with his health. Little gank coming in here by Vi. Gonna get a couple of my shield off and my ignite, and there's first blood. Gonna pick up a nice first kill on this Nasus. So anyways, he's, like I said, he's one of the infinite scaling champs. If you've played any of the other ones, you'll understand the mechanic that basically they have something in their kit that allows them to scale off of their last hits. So the more last hits you get, the more that you scale. And with Sion, it is his E ability. So whenever you get a last hit or kill a minion of any sort with his E active, you'll gain maximum health. So, but anyways, let's get to the rest of his kit, and we'll get to his E in a moment. First up is his passive Feel No Pain. 40% chance to reduce incoming attack damage by 30. Which is kind of a weird way, but it's actually kind of a nice passive. Especially against very AD heavy champs, this can be very, very nice. The opportunity to block some of that damage will help keep you safe and sound. So overall, it's a pretty solid passive. I want to say this is one of the only blocks remaining in the game, or dodges, I guess maybe would be the better way to say it. So I know like Jax has his Counter-Strike that can block incoming damage. And then there's of course like the untargetable things like Fizz and his Playful Trickster. But Sion gets the percentage to block a portion of incoming damage. And actually this is fairly meaningful. Like at level 1, if you're getting auto-attacked, maybe that would do like, I don't know, 50 or 60 damage. So you're doing over half of that. And if you take Unyielding and Block as well, like you're basically not going to take any damage from auto-attack based champions. So actually Sion would lane very, very well against auto-attackers like Tryndamere or Aatrox, something like that. Now, my understanding, let's see here. Yeah, so I believe that it is an auto-attack. I think it says attack damage, but I'm pretty sure that's referring to auto-attacks, not all physical damage. Because there is no such, like attack damage is something that you buy, but that's not something that's done to you. It's physical damage. And in this case, I believe that we're referring to damage done by auto attacks. So any auto attack based champion, Sion becomes strong against. Next up will be his Q, Cryptic Gaze. This is a point and click stun, dealing magic damage. It stuns for a second and a half. This has pretty high base damage, 300 at max rank, which is very high for base damage. And then it also scales with a 0.9 AP ratio, so almost 1-to-1 for AP. There I'm popping my ult. It's going to go all in on this guy, but I think he's going to get away. Just going super ham right there. Pop Ghost, Ignite, ult, shield, everything I had to try to get him out of lane, which I did successfully. And I've started to pull ahead a little bit against this Nasus. So anyways, his Cryptic Gaze skills with AP. There is an AP build on Sion where you go for more of a burst caster, and then this becomes a very core part of your damage because it has such a high AP scaling, and it's got such high base damage as well. So, but for an AD Sion build, which is what I'm going for in this game, you basically just use it as a 1-point skill for the stun. So, yeah, point and click stun, relatively low range, 550, which is auto attack range. Spells generally have less range than auto attack, so it's maybe even only like 500 auto attack range. So pretty close range point and click stun, but still is nice. It allows, you know, if junglers are coming to gank you, it can be very effective. And just kind of locking some target down. So this is very important in Sion's kit. You have to have, this is his only way to kind of lock somebody down so he can stay on top of them, which is very important for him because he's prone to being kited. So that's his Q. Next up would be his W, Death's Caress. This is a shield that has an activation and initial activation and then a secondary activation as well. So initially, if you hit W, you pop this shield around you that will absorb damage, and if the shield is not destroyed, or if all the damage in the shield is not consumed, you have the opportunity to explode it after 4 seconds, and then deal damage to surrounding enemies. So, and it does magic damage. It scales off of AP, same numbers as your Q. It has a 300 max damage at rank 5 and a 0.9% AP ratio. Not 0.9%, 0.9, 90% AP ratio. Again, very high AP scaling. This is just something to help keep you a lot. I use it mostly when I go into trade. If I pop the stun, I also pop my W. Give it a couple of seconds. I'll hit a couple auto attacks, and if they try to attack me back, they're basically just eating into my shield, which is great. Shields really help with trading. If you're playing the AP build, this also becomes a very core part of your damage. You're probably going to want to charge up your W and then run and hit your Q, and then be right next to them when you hit your W. I believe the explosion radius says 550, so that's pretty much the same range that your stun can be. So if you can stun them, your shield can also hit them. But a pretty straightforward ability. I'm using it here to clear these minions. But pretty straightforward ability. I like to max this second on an AD build, and especially getting more shield out of it will help you with trading in lane. Next up is his E ability. This is his core part of his kit. Basically, his entire kit is built around this. It is a toggled ability, and you want to toggle it and leave it on pretty much all the time. Look at all this wave clear I've got between my W and my Hydra. It's pretty sweet. But if you see his sword is glowing red right now, and when it's off, it just is normal gray. So that's how you can tell when it's on. But the idea is that you gain flat attack damage, which actually you gain quite a bit. Max rank it's 65, and even at level 1 it's 25 AD, which is an awful lot. Just tanking these turret shots like a total bro right now, waiting for Annie to come in, which she did very nicely. There's my stun to pick up that kill. Very nice tower dive by Annie. So you gain a lot of attack damage, and then you gain health per last hit. So let me just double check this. So he permanently increases his maximum health whenever he kills a unit with either his attacks or abilities. So anytime you kill a unit, which would be a minion, this effect is doubled against champions and large units, which I believe would be like the blue buff or the dragon or something like that. And the health give back, it starts at 1, and at max rank it goes up to 3 health per last hit. So you can see at this point in the game I'm up to 340 HP. Which is quite nice. A bonus 300 HP is quite nice. That's like is that like a Giant's Belt? Like, I want to say a Giant's Belt gives 380, so I pretty much have a free Giant's Belt just by last hitting. Gonna pop my shield to try to eat some of that damage. Gonna stun him and auto attack that Fizz to death. Gonna pop my Ghost here, I believe, and I'm not using my ult, but just going super ham on this Nasus during this epic tower dive. Are we gonna get this guy? Yes, we, in fact, wasn't quite able to get that last auto attack, so Vi will take the kill. So anyways, that's his Sion's E. It does cost him health per auto attack, so if you're going for an AD build, you're pretty much required to buy lifesteal to kind of make up for this. In my case, I greatly prefer Tiamat on Sion, because it gives him the lifesteal so that he can sustain the health cost on his E, and it also gives him fantastic wave clear, which is not only good for the CS that it provides, but it's also really, really good for stacking your E, because you get that AoE stack going on, just really adding a lot of health. You can see I gained like 30 health right there from that big minion wave. So that's his E. You want to leave it on all the time, and you just want to stack this up throughout the game, play very passively. Sion is definitely a scaling champion, stronger in the late game. He needs, it's very core to his kit that he gets a lot of health from his E. So next up would be his ultimate, Cannibalism. This is in my opinion the best part of Sion's kit. It's actually straight up OP and like broken if you can get it to work properly in the correct situation. So for 20 seconds he gains 75% life steal and 50% attack speed, And additionally, Sion's basic attacks heal the surrounding allies for 37.5% of the damage dealt. So basically, Sion turns into a lifesteal tank. There are times in this game where I kind of attempt to like 1v4, and it's because like with Sion's ultimate active, you can lifesteal tank almost indefinitely if you build like a bunch of damage items. And this allows Sion's like dueling potential 1v1 to be unparalleled, because you have like, so if I get, let's just look at this right now. If Hydra, I get 12% lifesteal. I think I have 6% from my runes, so that's 18 plus my ult. You can see right here I'm kind of lifesteal tanking all of these guys, and I do end up actually dying, but I think my ult maybe ran out. That was just silly. So, and then if I get 75% lifesteal, so that's like, we're talking about nearing like 90 or 100% lifesteal on every auto attack. And if you're doing a lot of crit, oh, that was hilarious. If you're critting, like with Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer, you know, you're critting for like you're getting back like 500 or 600 health per auto attack. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then when you put that on top of that it becomes an AoE heal for your team for 37.5% of the damage dealt. It's just crazy. So basically with Sion, this turns him into the ultimate duelist. When his ultimate is up, there's just nothing that you can do to stop him. Like, if he's auto-attacking you and you're not kiting him, he will wreck your face. Just because his ult is so broken. Look at that wave clear between my W and my Hydra active. His ult is so broken. And also during team fights, if you can manage to get into the middle of the enemy team and auto-attack regularly, or consistently be auto-attacking and getting damage off, you will be healing your team like a Janna ult. I mean, it's just crazy how much he can do with his ultimate up. So those are his Sion's abilities. You basically use your Q to lock your opponent down, use your W to help you with trading and with wave clear, use your E, you keep it active all the time, you get some lifesteal to sustain through the health cost, and you want to farm that up. You can see this game, I am leading in farm. I'm at 202 farm at 23 minutes, which is pretty solid. A little bit under actually trying to solo Baron here with my ult up. I'm pretty sure Sion can do it at this point in the game. I did buy a Phantom Dancer, but unfortunately the enemy team shows up, and we kind of get wrecked. So I go for Fizz. Let's see her there. I'm just auto-attacking him. I haven't hit my ult yet. There we get the kill on Fizz, and now I believe I popped my Ghost, and there's my ult. I believe that I just popped my ultimate. But unfortunately the rest of my team kind of just dies, and trying to sustain through this but not quite able to. 1v4 isn't quite good enough. Jinx just does a lot of damage. She's definitely out damaging me at this point, so I wasn't able to kind of keep it going there, unfortunately. But so anyways, with Sion, you want to farm as much as you can. You want to focus entirely on farming up your E to the maximum, getting as many health stacks as you possibly can, because that's your tankiness, that's your survivability. And then you pretty much just want to build straight damage, because you get survivability for free, therefore you want to build straight damage. My preferred build path on Sion is to rush Hydra, because the wave clear is so beneficial. Otherwise it just takes too long to farm all these creeps. It takes much too long, because you're basically only auto-attacking and using your W. It just takes forever. So I find it's much beneficial to get a Tiamat and eventually a Ravenous Hydra for the wave clear and the pushing potential, just to stack up your E much faster. Then I like to go into an attack speed item. I have been going Phantom Dancer, and then eventually picking up an Infinity Edge, so that your damage just goes through the roof. And then my other, I get boots, obviously, and then my other slot I like to go with 2 defensive items. Here's a little duel with Nasus. I want to see at which point. I think I just popped my ult. Yep, I have popped my ultimate. And why? Like, he just cannot. I am just totally life stealing. There's nothing that he can do. He's not even damaging. His Qs aren't even doing any damage to me. I'm at completely full health right now, and I've got a lot of attack speed as well. So I like to build. Like I said, those are kind of like the 3 core items. I would say would be Hydra into Phantom Dancer and then Infinity Edge. I kind of waited on the Infinity Edge. I wanted to get Merc Treads for the Nasus Wither, or for let's see here, what else was I? Maybe Jinx's with her Root, or Fizz with his Slow, Sona with the Crescendo, any sort of CC I wanted to make sure I could get through, so I got Merc Treads. And then I was going to go for the ultimate armor item, Thornmail. I was going to go, there's my Q. I was going to go for a Thornmail because Jinx was pretty much doing all of their damage. So that's going to try to shut her down. I could also go for a... there's the stun. Gotta get the auto attacks. Not quite. Get kicked away. I was going to go... You could also go for Randuin's. That would be a solid choice as well. And then and then probably another defensive item would have been nice as well. Maybe a Guardian Angel would have been really useful. I really, really would prefer to buy Resistances on Sion, just because he already gets so much health from his E that buying Resistances multiplies your effective HP, rather than adding to it with just more health. And another option that you could go with, that I would really like to try sometime, is to go for a build based around a, what's it called? The Atma's Impaler. Atma's Impaler would work really well on Sion because he gains so much HP naturally. And he can use the crit because I'm building crit items. So something like, I would probably still do Hydra, then I would want to do... probably the Static Shiv, or a Phantom Dancer, and then maybe like a Frozen Mallet, and then get the Atma's Impaler, and so I have you have 4 or 5k health. You don't really have much in the way of resistances, but you've got a ton of health, which is going to translate into attack damage, and you've got attack speed from the Phantom Dancer, and the crit doesn't go to waste on the Atma's. So. Anyways, this game's coming to a close. It was kind of a boring game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Here I'm trying to 1v5 with my ult. And as long as I'm attacking someone, you can see how much health I'm gaining back. I do end up going down there. But that was mostly just because I was kind of running around. With Sion's big problem, the biggest thing is that he just, he doesn't really have anything going for him. His kit is very contradictory. He's got AP ratios on his Q and his W. And he has no gap closer. He just doesn't have any way to stick on targets. He's really, really good at sustained damage at dueling. He's really good, with using his ultimate. But other than that, he just is very, very weak. His laning is very weak. He just doesn't really do any damage. He doesn't have much mobility. He has no gap closer or anything like that. All he has is his Q, really. And so, with Nasus, he's still useful, even if he doesn't have a ton of Q stacks, because his Wither is so good. His ultimate makes him extremely tanky. And his E has some nice shred on it, so he's still a effective champion. But with Sion, it's like, well, 1.5 second stun doesn't really do that much for your team. And he just lacks any sort of wave clear to begin with. He's got high mana cost, so you really can't use his abilities very much. He's got like 100 mana cost on a rank 1 Q. That's pretty nuts. And so he just really struggles to find a place. You'll see him top lane. You can also see him in the jungle. But he basically needs to have an extended laning phase where he can just farm his Q, farm his E, get a bunch of health, build a bunch of damage items, and then be very tanky and dealing damage at the same time. But then even when he does that, he's prone to being kited. All you have to do is just run away from him, really. Because, he can stun you, but that's just about it. So right here, you can see I land my stun onto Jinx, and she just turns and runs away, and there's nothing that I can do to stop her. Maybe an item like Blade of the Ruined King would be a good choice here. Look at this lifesteal tanking right here. Through the Fizz ult, through the Nasus damage. Not too afraid at all. But like I said, he's very prone to being kited. So if I were to change this build, I would try to work in some sort of CC. Maybe Frozen Mallet would actually be a good choice to give yourself, just some sort of way to stick onto people. Or Blade of the Ruined King maybe, but then you lose out on the Hydra in the AoE wave clear, which is something you really need. But anyways, that's the end of the game. Sion, he's up for a rework, and I think he duly needs it. You can check him out if you really like these hyper-scaling style champions. Just play very passively and try to farm through the laning phase. It's very easy to last hit because he gets a lot of free attack damage with his E. You can also try the AP build. It's actually kind of fun, and it takes people by surprise. It's extremely good against assassins because all of his damage is close range, and he's got a shield. And his shield, ends up just... the shield strength and magic damage it deals, both skills. So, you end up getting, let's say you get 500 AP, you get a shield that's almost 500, plus, so you get, 800 shield that's also dealing 800 damage. That's pretty nuts. So, kind of a troll champ, but still fun to play. His ult, specifically, I think, is a lot of fun when you're, just lifesteal tanking right in the middle of the enemy team and healing your team all in the meanwhile. But he's he just doesn't really have that much going for him. This was a very favorable matchup against Nasus, just because Nasus is also extremely weak early on. But against like a powerful champion like a Riven or something, you just get dumpstered. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's my why buy on Sion. He is quite a champ. I will definitely want to check him out when he gets a rework, which hopefully is soon because he kind of sucks. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like playing Sion, leave it down in the comment section below. If you prefer AP or AD, I'd like to know. If this is your first time around, please feel free to rate and subscribe. I will be posting more League of Legends content like this in the future. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye.